Hawaii, this is how they call the sacred elements. This is the creation. This is the sound of the ocean. And the voice of the grandmothers calling. And as we enter sacred space, I ask you to leave whatever you're doing, thinking about, behind. That part of yourself that's running your daily agenda, leave it at the door. Because we're entering into that time of knowledge, that time of change. And we're calling to our grandmothers and grandfathers and our ancestors to bring this age of wisdom into this generation and this moment. The sounds of the earth coming together for the creation. The origins of where we started and the origins of where we go back to. The continent of Lemuria is part of Pangea. And when the earth changed, the only thing left standing of the great continent of Lemuria, which we call Mu, is the islands of Hawaii. They are the most distant islands in all of the world, 2,500 miles from the nearest landmass. We think of it as a vacation spot. It's one of the most sacred places on our earth. The pictures you're seeing are my adventures this year. My name is Two Clouds Meeting. My people come from the desert. I myself have the blood of an Irishman. I was adopted at birth. My father's people are Yavapai. My Keneipp family, Akanialakule, from the Big Island of Hawaii. These are my roots. Although I stand as an Irish person, I was brought here to the United States and taught native ways. And these are the pictures of my travels this year. I work for Flower Essence Services. I'm their national director and their national educator. And Flower Essence is a vibrational medicine, which is what we are right in the middle of needing right now. If anyone's not familiar with vibrational medicine, it's an essence that helps you open and match. If you watch any of Dr. Iamoto's work on how we take water from all the sacred places of the earth, and with the flowers make the sacred medicine. And these are the travels that I've been doing over the last year. You'll notice that I've traveled in many spots and seen, some of these pictures you're seeing here is Nome and St. Lawrence Island, out in the Bering Sea. FES is working on a project with Indian Health Services, and I'm working with their wellness clinics and working with the indigenous people that are in trouble in this world because of global changes. I've recently spent the summer on St. Lawrence Island. It's 38 miles from Russia, and it's 200 miles out into the Bering Sea. There's 1,200 people with 2 villages on this island, and they are the ones that hold the sacred place. Their villages have been there for 8,000 years. They live on a gravel sand spit. As you can see, this is what the village flying in. There's the village. It's now surrounded by 3 parts of water. It's been there for 8,000 years, and now they are losing their culture because they have to move their homes. We brought our florists in to work with them. These are the canoes that they use. They're made out of walrus, and there's whale bones everywhere to be found. There's 8,000 years of artifacts buried on this island. These people are losing their culture. They have no way to get greens. It's $20. It's $20 for gas, a gallon. They ride ATVs because the gravel, if you walk more than 10 feet, you sink up to your ankles, and you can hardly walk in it. They don't make a living other than doing their carvings, and they're probably the most fantastic carvers in the world. But this is what some of our global warming and some of our global impact is doing. And these people are some of the first people. This is the Bering Land Bridge. These are the people that came. These are our ancestors. And these are the first people that are receiving this impact. And it's just scary. They hunt seal, they hunt walrus, they hunt whale. Their average whale strike, they're allowed 8 strikes a year, which they call 8 whales. They only now catch 2. When they fly in planes, they're 4-seater planes, and they fly in processed food. These people have no fresh food. Everything is processed, unless they catch it themselves, and they're losing that as a culture. This is on the front line of our global warming. This is what we're talking about, 2012, guys. It's here. The other thing you'll see in these pictures are also my travels to Chaco Canyon. Chaco Canyon is a very sacred place, very sacred not only to the Anastasies, but it was also a sacred place to the peoples of South America. The people from South America, you'll see that there's some photos in here also where there was a macaw drawn on the petroglyphs in Bandelier National Park in New Mexico, which meaning that they also came up, the South Americans came up to worship with the Anastasies. There was cross-trade between the ancient peoples. And then we have the ancient peoples of Hawaii, the wisdom keepers. The ancient peoples, I was witness to a ceremony in 1997 where the Hopi elders came to the Hawaiian elders at Hikiau on the Big Island of Hawaii. And there they did a ceremony for returning their birthing stones, which was the call to this process in the 2012. It was a very profound ceremony. There were corn, Indian corn, Hopi corn, tied to the 4 corners of this ancient temple. Akapuli and her family have been the caretakers of this heiau for over 2,000 years. And this ceremony was a herald of them bringing their stones back, saying, "You are our brothers, and we need to build this bridge, for this is the time of change." And it's important for us to remember that all ancient peoples had some cultural event in their lives that they talk about this time that we've chosen to come into. We've come into this time to make a difference. That's why you're all sitting here, right? Are you here to make a difference? Yeah. So am I. But we can't do it with our hands out. We have to do it with our feet. I'm kind of nervous here, so I'm taking my shoes off. Because one thing that people walk around saying, "I feel so grounded, I don't know how I get grounded these days." You know what? My teachers used to tell me, take your shoes off and stand in the dirt. You're going to feel grounded. Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Listen. And I've got to tell you that in some of these pictures, you're going to see people. And you're going to see children. And these children are my children. And these children are my grandchildren. They are my circle of life. Each one of you has a circle of life. Each one of you have little ones coming behind you. And you have to ask yourself every day, what am I doing for those little ones that are coming behind me? I have 2 grandchildren right now and another one in the oven. And I'll tell you, those little ones mean more to me. And being a grandmother has brought an aspect to my medicine more than anything that I can tell you. Because it means that those children may not have a planet. Those children may not have the way of life that I've been privileged to have. And this is entering the sacred. This is a time and a place that we need to come between the worlds, and we need to come together as a planet. It's all wonderful as a village. People travel there to worship. And it's hard to get there these days, even in a car. It's a long trip. And I want to tell you, that is sacred ground. I had the opportunity 2 weeks ago to work at the Natural Products Show in Boston, Massachusetts, and I spent the day in Ipswich Bog. The Ipswich Bog was one of the first places that the Americans accepted a new leader. We're about ready to elect a new leader in this country. And I'm not here to give political messages. I'm here to make us aware that we have choices. We have choices how we live our daily lives. We have choices on where we put our feet and where we put our mouth, and where we walk in integrity. Where do we put that dollar, or where do we not put that dollar? These are all questions that we as Americans have to ask. We as human beings, I should say, not even Americans. But we have sacred places in this country. We have places that doesn't take thousands of dollars to get to. We have places that we can go in our own backyards and create sacred space. For the more sacred space that we create, the more balanced we become. And the more balanced our planet can become. And that's what my story is about. My story and what I teach and what I've been taught is about how to live in balance. And believe me, my life hasn't always been easy. I haven't always lived the way I was taught. I'm no guru. I born and raised down in Southern California. Didn't want to raise my kids in Southern California, so I moved them up to Northern California. We live in a little city called Nevada City, California, up in the Sierras. Spent many years in Hawaii and educated in Oklahoma as a nurse and back again as an anthropologist in Santa Barbara. But I'll tell you, I travel this country, and I'm very lucky that I get to work with the indigenous people because they're the ones being affected by this change. They're the earth keepers, the Hopi. I sat with a Hopi elder in February at a women's conference. And in this women's conference, they cried. That's what they did for 24 hours, is that they came together to cry for our planet. Because they were the mothers that were releasing the tears. They were the mothers that we are their children. And they cried for 24 hours. And then they prayed for another 24 hours. These are what the earth keepers are doing. We had an earth keeper here this morning giving sacred rites. We have other earth keepers traveling thousands of miles to give us sacred rites. I hope we all understand what entering the sacred means. It means a time of calming the heart. It means the time of coming together. It means a time of bringing our place into balance. And it means leaving that agenda, whatever it is, behind as much as you can. And try to do this on a daily basis. Try to do this and remember that you all walk in integrity. In Hawaii, I learned a long time ago, you do what's called the kapuvai and the kapukai. And that's the washing. It's the sacred washing. We don't take showers in Hawaii. We take ritual baths. And in that cleansing, that is, we cleanse in the fresh water in the morning, and we clean in the salt water at night. And in that ritual cleansing, we wash off the residue. We wash off what we bring into that house. We wash off what we carry around during the day. We come into sacred alignment within this. We have, you know, we turn on a faucet here and we have endless water, right? Not being here in California, we've been watching it burn up, right? So when we're given sacred water, maybe we should take a moment and think about our sacred body, and in that sacredness, to clean and to be centered, and to bring ourselves back into alignment. In Hawaii, we can learn to swim with the dolphins. How many has ever swum with dolphins out here? And in that sacredness, do you feel a joy? When you feel those bubbles that come up underneath you and come around you, there is sacred joy. And that's a communion. I just had an opportunity about 3 months ago to go out with a group and teaching a workshop over there in Hawaii. And we all jumped in. We had a 60-year-old man with us who was terrified of water all his life. And we asked him, come on, just talk to the ocean, talk to the dolphin. He stepped off a boat into 300 feet of water with his clothes on and floated the entire time. He entered the sacred. He entered that space. He went out of his fear and he entered the sacred. As we move into more of the energies of the 2012, we move into there's a lot of social mores about different things that are going on or should go on and things like that, and sometimes we as human beings blur those lines. But it's really important to remember that only you can make the difference. Only you can decide what foot you're going to put in front of the other and how you're going to do it.